We now have the Educate panel session. I'd like to ask Philip Butler to join us once again, as well as Ed and Bruce Ramsey from Lovett Technologies and Fred Davis from Future Fibre Technologies. Now, Bruce Ramsey began his career some 29 years ago at Lovett Technologies Australia as an apprentice fitter and turner, and having obtained an Associate Diploma of Engineering, he quickly advanced from the workshop to planning and sales and is currently Managing Director. Lovett manufactures aerospace components for commercial and defence applications. It was founded in 1954 and commenced operation in the manufacture of cutting tools and components for the automotive industry. As part of the senior team, Bruce helped guide the company through its transition to aerospace. Lovett has evolved with the demands of its customers and embraced contemporary precision engineering technologies to offer enhanced capabilities in new markets. Today, the company is a provider of precision machined components, parts and assemblies to the world's aerospace industry. The company manufactures components for commercial aircraft such as Boeing and Gulfstream. In 2013, Lovett was awarded a Victorian Government Investing in Manufacturing Technology, or IMT grant, which they used to purchase a new 5-axis machining centre to improve productivity and increase exports. Please welcome Bruce to the stage. Our final Educate panel member is Dr. Fred Davis, Chief Technology and Strategy Officer from Future Fibre Technologies. Fred holds a first-class honours degree in engineering and a PhD in engineering from Bristol University. Fred has also led strategy development and supervised new product development as CEO of Infotech. Fred led teams securing over $110 million in export orders. As an adjunct professor at Swinburne University, Fred assists with executive education in business and product innovation. Future Fibre Technologies provides a complete range of fibre optic-based intrusion detection systems, for perimeter protection and pipeline security. As a leader in advanced manufacturing technology, the company won the 2014 Manufacturing Hall of Fame for the Medium-Sized Manufacturer of the Year award. Please welcome Dr. Fred Davis to the stage. Now, Bruce, for someone who's succeeded in manufacturing, what advice would you give other people? The advice to start on the floor?
I was lucky enough to follow the footsteps of a lot of other people in my organisation, where I progressed from the workshop through to planning, estimating, sales and other functions like that. And if you're very good at something, you tend to enjoy it, except for me in golf. What we find at Lovett's, if someone shows a passion for something, that's the direction we put them in. And basically, I showed a passion when I was on the shop floor for estimating. I was just absolutely amazed how someone could put a price on something and know how it's going to turn out before we'd made it. Then I got into the estimating function. I started dealing with a few customers on the phone. Thought, gee, this sales thing is great. Imagine the kick of coming home with an order. So we all, basically at that point, we had a sales role become vacant, and let's choose the guy that's already doing some of it. So it's a matter of just showing a passion in that area, and that's what we did. We just last week promoted another guy from the shop floor up to the office to just try and bring people through and bring new blood through.
Fantastic, thank you, Bruce. Now, Fred, with your background and exposure to engineering, manufacturing and education, would you like to make a comment on how these different fields can work together in a more collaborative way?
I think I'd like to recommend two things to you. The first is the Victorian Government's Technology Voucher Program, and the second is engaging with universities and CSIRO to supercharge your technology base. The first voucher program is a sensational scheme for encouraging you to bridge the gap between your own in-house capability and engaging with CSIRO and a university, and learning and building connections between your organisation and a research group. I've been through a number of voucher programs, and I can only recommend to you the value of tapping into universities and tapping into CSIRO. Over the years, you know, they've got a little bit of bad press sometimes, but our research organisations in Victoria have worked hard to be more relevant to industry. They've worked hard at engaging in a more effective way. And the voucher program I found to really help me in getting new technologies off the ground, injecting into the businesses that I've been, the wisdom and skills of a completely different group, a group who live and breathe R&D. So for me, that's a bridge.
Thank you. Now, could we open up questions from the floor again, please? So, does anyone have a question for this panel?
Roland Williams from Mildura. I've got a question for Philip. When you spoke about productivity, you mentioned mechanisation. Now, I recently went over and had a look at some manufacturing sites in Germany, and I've been negotiating EBAs for many years in Australia, and I've had no success at building productivity and waste figures into EBAs for increases in wages. So what's your sort of response on that?
Gary mentioned in the opening address about the importance of people, and we follow that same thing. We run a business model called Open Book Management, where we share everything, the costs, the opportunities, profit and loss, the balance sheet, the asset turn. We have 50 employees. We've trained them all to be financially literate. So we don't have, I know this is a crazy answer, but we don't have EBAs. We've doubled in size with the same number of people, and we've been able to explain that to our very dedicated workforce because the need was to be globally competitive operating out of Australia. So I think it comes down to, I mentioned before about relationships. I mean, our relationships with our people are critical. We don't lose staff, we just seem to attract more and more good people. So I feel if you're in a confrontational environment, I mean, you know, I mentioned before about the need for change, but if you're in a confrontational environment, you don't stand a chance of surviving.
And I find that a lot of companies talk safety first, but that's usually the last thing they do. And when you walk into a factory and you see people touting on the tour how good their engineering is, how good their quality is, but you look around and you see obviously that safety is not where it needs to be, and 5S, etc. What's your opinion about starting that journey on safety and the link between the mentality that's required to have good safety and have good quality and good process control?
I actually think there's a very strong link, and as a manufacturer, some manufacturers may not start there. Because we're in manufacturing and the service industry, all our customers are looking at our safety stats. And so that is front of mind automatically for us anyway. But if you get the right mindset in terms of safety, and you get the good practices in safety, it's going to automatically move across to the way you do quality and productivity. So to me, there's a very, very strong link. We've already seen with our safety performance increasing, our quality is also increasing. So it is a mindset.
I hope this is relevant. I picked up on a few of your comments about dropping profit margins to be competitive and be global. Any comment on how small to medium business moves forward in that space, being mindful of disrupting distribution channels, and it'd be great to drop margins a little bit and go straight to the end user where you can. But we're learning in that space, and is there any words of warning about undoing supply chains in that space?
If we assume that most of us are engineers, we run the company on ratio. And I mentioned dropping margin. I didn't mention about dropping my return on assets, my return on funds employed. I think that's key and crucial. It's really about being smarter in the way in which you create your business model. We've found in our transformation, And there's not one business model which works for everybody, but in our particular case, we've locked in with a large multinational, that's Kimberly-Clark Corporation out of America. They understand what we're doing, and so we're dealing directly with that company. We're not going through middlemen or anyone else. We're just totally integrated with their business model. And we've been able to sell not product, but we've been able to sell innovation to that company. I feel a great opportunity. I mentioned technology, but the other great opportunity is the larger multinationals are not really capable of innovating anymore. They need the smaller businesses to be able to create new concepts and new businesses and to be able to move very, very quickly. So my advice would be to, if you're going to follow our model, find yourself a multinational that you can get on with, that can take you into these global markets, because the cost of setting up distribution systems around the world is impossible for an SME. We don't need to do that. Kimberly-Clark Corporation is our global sales representative.
Procurement policy of medium to large business manufacturers and doing business with your neighbour is my theme. My question is, how can we help the small manufacturers in the room to get access to the procurement policy of buying local to medium and large business? And then how do we help those small and medium sized businesses to continually improve to be competitive against our imports? So I'm sorry it's not on education, but that was my question. And if Mr. Ryan's still here, I'd like to ask him, and maybe Mr. Wilson as well, so he's both medium to large.
Thanks, Mike. I did say earlier that people are critical inside and outside your business, and I know there's a few suppliers here today, and one has just been on his feet, but we try and work together, outline the direction for where our product is heading. We spoke about IP before. I don't think you can keep IP for too long. As soon as we make a new model, we're obsoleting it. But what we sit down, try and work out at least 12, 18 months out, work with our suppliers. How do you get access? And I hear that, yes, I've tried to get into Jayco, it's a closed shop. I reckon today's a great opportunity for us all to meet, and I've already got about 8 cards in my pocket. I did say it'll take me about 3 or 4 days to get back to you, but this is a great opportunity here to talk amongst each other, and what is the turning point? In terms of being able to get access or ideas, and I think today is very important. So I've still got another pocket if people want to give me cards later, thank you.
Ed, did you want to add to that? Thanks, Jerry.
I can't compete with Jerry. I've only got 1 card in my pocket from today, so maybe I might get a few more. But it is exactly what Jerry said. It's about people and knowing the right people. We have the same problem with our customer base, trying to find the right people to speak to. So you need to try and get to the right person. Certainly, if anybody wants to speak to me today, I can point you to the right people. But it's also, I think all businesses would see this. If you catch someone on a bad day, don't try and push it, try and get them another day, because people do have emotions too. So we try not to have that, but it is about people, so connections. But if we can, we will support Australian made, absolutely, 100%. We're very much an Australian business. We are competing on a global market. We've got a lot of import competition coming in. I know there was some probably questions about dumping too, but we've also got a dumping case on at the moment. So cost pressures are there too, but if you can provide a value proposition to whoever you're trying to do business with, then that's the best way to go.
We have
just a follow-on comment on connecting and picking up on what Wilson Transformers have done. I mean, we introduced Wilson Transformers into Western Australia through an opportunity there on a big project. I think the issue for SMEs, and the ICN is all about connecting SMEs into projects that operate around Australia. One of the issues that we have in terms of when you take projects and break them down into work packages is getting them small enough for SMEs to be able to participate in that work on those projects. So one of the issues I think we face as a manufacturing sector is how do we actually get small to medium sized, and especially small, to actually come together in a consortium where they can actually compete for bigger work packages. And I think that's something that is going to face us as we look into the future. How do we actually collaborate, combine, even though we're competitors, to build a consortium which can compete? And I think that's a challenge that we'll have in the future.